Hey everyone, I ran across this video that I wanted to share with everybody. I'm getting a bit I don't want to say frustrated, but it just really confuses me as to why why we're not realizing that white people will do anything that they can to continue white supremacy. So while we're sitting around fearing the inevitable, which is war, they're not confused as to what's going on. If you're confused and you think that there's going to be some other way of ending white supremacy, then I just urge you to just educate yourself. I think Black people need to really dive into the psyche of white people, because if you really try to understand the psychology behind white supremacy, and not just the act of behaving in a manner that says, I think I'm better than you, but the actual actions behind white supremacy, what it takes to maintain white supremacy. And I came across this video, and it's kind of humorous, but it's really not. We really need to listen to what white people think and how they act and why they act the way they do. Because I think the more Black people, the more we understand white people, the less sympathetic you'll be towards them, the less amped you will be to make excuses for their behavior, the less likely you will be wanting to say, we're all just people, we're all the same on the inside. Because think of the logic behind that. Think of the impossibility of that. We can't possibly be all the same, and one race of us have done so much damage and so much destruction and went on mass murdering sprees, and it's not that would be just like the craziest coincidence ever. Like, wouldn't that just be is that what it is? Is that what we think, that these are just crazy coincidence that white people are killing Black people, and that they're oppressing Black people and poisoning Black people and just all out waging war on Black people? It's been continuous, ongoing war that they've been waging upon us, and yet we want to think that we're the same somehow. We're not the same, and this awakening process for Black people. It's going to be hard, because we're fighting a system that has been set in place for hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of years. But how many generations of Black people need to go through this? Like, when are we going to end it? Anyways, I'm going to play this video, and let's see if I can find it. Hopefully it will behave. Here it is. And the reason the title is, it just like, usually I'm just like sitting here watching TV or something, and I was really just thinking, like, why white people are are sociopaths. I was like, that was the only way to describe their behavior and their mindset. And I'm really even thinking of, like, my sister and I went to Costco today, and we're in line, and there's a lady walking around, and she to the line. She skipped over us and went to the people behind us, the white people behind us, and asked if they wanted her to pre-ring their stuff, their order. She didn't make any eye contact to us or say anything to us. And I was going to ask her, what made her skip over us to go to them? Like, what was her reasoning behind that? And I was going to, but she went off to some other lanes. And if you've ever been to Costco, there's like lines everywhere and people everywhere. And then I got the wrong cherries, and just everything just like snowballed. But when I was looking at her, she's like this soulless, evil person. And you could tell that she had this disdain for me and my sister, this dislike and this hate. And you could feel it. You could just feel it pouring out of her. And the fact that she doesn't know us, we've never done anything to her. We weren't rude to her. There was no reasoning and no justification for her behavior, except being a sociopath. Like, that has to be it. I think we're always looking for something that we can do better. If we just, pull up our pants, and if we just speak proper grammar, and if we just, try to act more white, then they will stop hating us and they will stop trying to kill us. But we need to realize that that's not their plan. That's not their agenda. That's not something that they want. They really don't want to live in harmony with us. They don't want that. So they're never going to try to do that. That's not their goal. Her being the white supremacist terrorist that she was, she didn't need any reasoning behind her actions, her thoughts, and her behavior. All she had to do is see that we were brown, and that's it. So let's listen to some of this. I'm probably not going to play the whole thing because it's really long.
How is it not news? And why are no candidates mentioning that, according to the Department of Justice, in a study released in 2004, Black and Latino males are 3 times more likely than white males to have their cars stopped and searched for drugs, even though white males are 4.5 times more likely to actually have drugs on us on the occasion when we are stopped. Now think about that. Because that suggests that racial profiling is not just racist. We know that is redundant. But it's also pretty stupid-ass law enforcement. Or is it? Because I guess it's only stupid if you think the purpose of the war on drugs is actually to get drugs off the street. Because if that were the purpose, putting aside whether or not we ought to deal with a medical and a health problem known as drug addiction with...
And the thing is, we already know that. If you are a adult whose brain functions past 3rd grade, you know that the war on drugs is not to get drugs off the street, because they've already admitted that they were putting the drugs on the street. Like, that's not a secret. It's not a conspiracy theory. They've CIA straight out came and said, yes, we put drugs, crack cocaine on the streets. So this is something that we know. And the thing that sucks is, like, we have all this knowledge. We have so much knowledge that's just right there. There's another it was like a writing or journal or whatever. My brain is going to sleep again. But there was a letter thing that I was reading about white people and their sociopathic ways. Maybe I'll do another a video on that one, but we'll continue to watch this one. But just Black people, we really need to realize it's not that we're doing a bunch of things that are wrong. It's not that if we just stop doing such and such. There is things that we need to stop doing. There is. But there's more things that we need to start doing. And we need to start calling them out on their bullshit. We need to start digging into their psychology and figuring out why they do what they do so that we can predict what they're going to do. And I can already tell you guys, you look at history. History is the greatest prediction of the future. And they can say get past this, but really see what they're doing and stop listening to what they're saying, because they wouldn't show you slavery movies in school. They wouldn't constantly shove slavery down your throat with making at least 4 movies a year if they wanted you to get past something, okay? So we need to start focusing on what they're doing and stop making excuses for them. I'm so tired of Black people getting on my page and leaving comments caping for white people and acting like you're their lawyers. White people don't need you as their lawyer, okay? So just stop.
War metaphors in the first place. Different lecture for a different night. Even if we assume that is a good policy, let us be clear that is not what we're fighting. We're not fighting a war on drugs, because the first rule of any war is to go where the enemy is. And if the white folks are the ones with the drugs in the car and the black and brown folks are the ones getting stopped, the people fighting this war are either supremely stupid or just have really bad short-term memory. Like they keep forgetting. Oh, damn, I pulled over another guy named Martinez. I keep forgetting it's white people. It's white people. Damn it, I got to write a note and put it on the dashboard.
They know it's white people. The cops know it's white people. You know it's white people. And yet nothing is done about that. Because instead of us saying, hey, why don't you go look at the white people, we're saying, well, this Black person dated a white dude, or this Black person, like we're always jumping on each other. It's like, be the next Black person's lawyer. Stop caping for white people. They don't need you. They don't need you. I'm telling you. They're showing you that they already have a system that is protecting them. They don't need you to protect them. We need to start protecting ourselves.
I don't know what's wrong with me. Maybe that's it, Or maybe it's something else. I do trainings with law enforcement, not a hell of a lot, for reasons you can probably guess. And I ask law enforcement officers, what's the first thing you think when you see a young Black or Latino male driving a nice car in your neighborhood? And they all, without fail and without exception, will say drug dealer. I then ask them, what's the first thing you think when you see a young white male, same age, driving the same kind of car in that same community? And they will say, without exception, without hesitation, without fail, spoiled little rich kid, daddy probably bought him a car. Keep in mind, we've been together for about 90 seconds of the workshop at this point. We have 2 hours left, and they have just outed themselves as racist, because what they have said is that they are making snap judgments on the basis of only color that work to the detriment of.
And he needs to say, as white supremacists, these people are white supremacists, because you have to have a white supremacist mind to think that the white kid deserves a car. His dad bought him, whether he's saying spoiled little rich kid, it doesn't matter, because he's saying that their parents can afford this because they're higher quality people, and in order for you to afford this, you were selling drugs, even though they've already told you that they're the ones that are selling the drugs and putting the drugs out there on the street. So it's just, there's a lot of contradictions with actions and words. And that's why we need to focus on actions.
People of color, the benefit of white people. We still got 2 hours to go, so it's going to be fun from that point forward. These are people sworn to protect and to serve. It's right there on the car, right there on the side of the car. And in the first 90 seconds, they are acknowledging these racial biases. How is that not an issue? How is it not an issue that according to that Justice Department report, while black and brown folk are having their wheel wells ripped apart on the side of the road, their trunks splayed open, their dashboards ripped apart in the search for drugs which aren't even there. White people like me, notice I said like me because I'm not trying to tell you anything about me that you don't need to know and for which the statute of limitations has not yet expired.
Because he's
Are driving by the roadblock with a trunk full of weed.
And let's not even say weed, because that's the least of the drugs that they have. They drive, and this is the thing. Going back to something that he said about when you're in war with people, you want to be amongst them and see what they're doing and be around them. And by being around white people, you know what their mentality is. You know that they do have all these drugs. So you're no longer looking at black people as, oh, they're drug dealers, because you already know. No, you know, John Courtwright, he's sitting here, you know, selling meth and coke and has an arsenal of guns. You know that. So it really, we really need to, we need to get around them. And not even, you don't, right, like now you don't even have to be around them. You can just go online, because there's trolls, there's so many white supremacist sites. All you have to do is go into a black site. If it says any kind of black love or black united, it's gonna attract so many disgusting sociopathic white supremacists, because they're in your business for a reason. They want to know what you're thinking, what your plans are, and what your actions are. And we need to do the same to them. We need to get into their head, into their psychology, see what they're doing and see what they're thinking. And I can already tell you, they're white supremacist terrorists. So just Google terrorism. Actually, you can't even, because actually, you know, terrorists, under that it says freedom fighter and stuff. Of course, they need to put that in there so that if black people are fighting for their lives, then they can charge them with being a terrorist. But that white people will never be charged with that. But what I'm saying is, get in there. Read the stuff that they say, because if you want to justify like being on their side, or I can't remember the word that I was going to say, but sticking up for them. If you want to justify sticking up for them, go into these chat rooms and these sites and see the true evil that they are, and the things that they say, and the fact that they get like thrills out of talking about killing you and skinning black people, and the stuff that is done is just demonic, and they know this. I'm playing you this video because you need to know that Becky up the street knows how white people are. They know how they are. They know exactly how they are. They know exactly who has the drugs. They know that you're getting targeted when you get pulled over. When you go to court and you sit from when you go to court, you go in front of a judge. That judge already knows that police targeted you. They know that. All of them know that. They're working together. They don't care. It's not going to. They're not trying to build a just society. They're not trying to do that. They all know what's going on.
And we're just waiting. Because we're not suspected, therefore we're not detected, therefore we're not punished. How is that not an issue? How is it not an issue that the typical white family in America, thanks to this history, this legacy of institutionalized oppression for some and advantage and privilege for others, how is it not news that the average white family in America, not the average rich white family, the average white family has 12 times the accumulated net worth of the average African American family, 8 times the accumulated net worth of the average Latino family, in large measure because those white average families have had parents or grandparents who, even if they didn't have much, even if they were not rich, nonetheless were able to procure a little house, a little property, maybe with an FHA or a VA loan in the middle of the 20th century, loans that were all but off limits to people of color, as they gave hundreds of billions of dollars worth of assets and equity to those who were white.
And they know they do this because this was published in 2012. So this isn't information that's just coming out. This is information that white people have known. They know that. They don't care. They're not going to try to not get it. They're not going to, white people don't want to give away their privilege. And that's what you guys need to realize. They don't want to give away their privilege. They're not going to give it away. So in order for you to get equality, you're going to have to take away their privilege, and you have to take it. It's not going to be peacefully given. You're not going to pray to white Jesus, and then white Jesus is going to come down and put on their hearts to give you equality. It's not going to happen. If it was going to happen, it would have happened a long time ago. Okay, so we need to start waking up. Do some meditation every day on what war is and what needs to happen, and just prepare yourself. Because regardless of whether you prepare yourself or not, it's going to happen. Like, if you want to go look at history again, go look at history and see what happens. There's a course of things that just happens. Just like there's a depression, there's a stocks fall, and it just, jobs are lost. This happens. It's not something that people should be surprised at. And that's why I don't understand with the wealth thing why Black people feel the need to wear these name brands that has nothing to do with us, but we're paying hundreds of dollars, and actually thousands. We're spending so much. We're like the biggest consumers there are, and yet we have the least wealth because we need to go buy stuff that we don't need. We don't need Jordans. You don't need any Michael Kors. Michael Kors don't care anything about you. Michael Jordan don't care anything about you. Nike don't care anything about you. Adidas don't care anything about you. True Religions don't care anything about you. Like, none of these things care anything about Black people, and yet we still go rush to the mall and go buy all this stuff, and we gotta have these gold chains and all these like, stop. You don't have any money. Black people don't have any wealth. So why are we buying? Why do you need to walk around with a Gucci purse when you didn't pay your rent last month? Like, stop. If you're paying rent, you shouldn't have a Gucci purse, because that means you don't own your home. This is where your money should be going. To wealth. Wealth is when you don't go spend all your money. But in the end, honestly, all of this goes back to white people, because if it wasn't for them, Black people wouldn't be in this situation. They know that you're a consumerist. They know you're going to buy all this stuff. And so they can plan for it. They already know we're going to put out these Jordans, and then Black people are going to stand in line for days to buy them. They already know that. So they're not confused, but we're confused when it comes to them. It seems like we're confused when we're always giving them passes, when we're praying for them, when we're saying, oh, not all white people are evil. Well, clearly a large majority of them are. And that's all it takes for me.
So that even white working class families on average, even white families with less than $15,000 a year in annual income, which depending on family size, that is technically legally the poverty limit. And yet the average white family with low income, less than $15,000, has the same average net worth as the typical Black family with $60,000 or more in annual income. So that even those African-American families that are professional, good jobs, occupational status, good educations, etc., and pretty good incomes are still in worse shape in terms of wealth and assets, material goods, which are really what matter in the long run. Your income, if you're dependent on that, you're one paycheck away from nothing. If you don't have assets, if you don't have wealth, if you don't have something accumulated, your income means very little. In the case of an economic downturn, and these working class white families who are struggling, make no mistake about it, nonetheless are on average going to be better off than those Black families with 4 times as much annual pay. How can that not be an issue? Now, I'm suggesting to you that the failure to talk about race, the failure to talk about racism and inequality on the basis of color feeds the denial that is already far too prevalent among the white community.
And now we see that you can talk about it until your face turns red. And unless you are going to put action behind your words, it's not going to matter. It's going to be nothing. Because what is talking? What is marching? You're just more talking. While you're talking, they're sitting there planning their next evil deed, their next attack against Black people. That's what they're doing, and they're just laughing at you because they already know comes tomorrow you're going to be out buying stuff anyway. The reason why Black people with more money have less net worth is because they're buying stupid shit. Like shoes. Shoes aren't really going to gain any monetary value. It's not going to. There's no. I'm sure there's some old Jordans or something that you can sell for money, but in general, you can go buy a Michael Kors purse and now it's worth zero. Like you can go buy that Maserati and drive it off the lot, and it's not worth anymore. It's not, the value isn't increasing. So when you're buying stuff that decrease in value as soon as you leave the store, that's how you're losing net worth. You're losing it because you're buying stuff that has no value. So even when these like rappers and stuff, when they're talking about like in that, there's a Drake song and he's sitting there talking about how he has $30 million more in mortgages. Like that's not wealth, that's debt. If you have $30 million in mortgages, that means you are $30 million in debt, in the red. So we need to listen to this stuff and realize that that's stupid. And it irritates me when I listen. I don't even listen to rap. And this is why, because stupid bullshit like this, which is pumping into people's heads, and then they're thinking, oh, let me go get me some Gucci belt and some Versace shoes and a $30 million mortgage. Well, now you just look stupid because now you owe $30 million. And as soon as the bank wants their $30 million, now you're homeless and you still owe $30 million. So you just look stupid. Buy stuff that increase in value, not decrease. Which, let me just say something really quick. If you want to buy gold, buy gold. Buy gold, buy silver, buy platinum. Those things will go up in value, okay? Those hold value. But, I mean, don't go spending on some name brand jewelry because then you just look stupid because it's not worth any more than the other gold.
And having been white all of my life, I've been surrounded by that denial for a very long time. A few years back, white Americans were asked whether or not we believed that racial discrimination was still a significant national problem for people of color, or whether it was just a problem, like junk mail. Wrong phone number, 2 in the morning, you can't get back to sleep, it's raining and you want to go outside for a jog, a problem. The one you'll get over, Whether it wasn't much of a problem, wasn't a problem at all, we just weren't sure. They also asked Black and brown folk this question. Folks of color, won't surprise you, said, yes, it is a significant problem, actually, and not just because I read about it in a sociology textbook. I actually have lived it and would be more than happy to tell you what kind of problem it's been, but these were pollsters, man, they didn't care about that. They just wanted the yes or no, then they were on to the next house. And they asked white folks, is it or is it not a significant national problem, racial discrimination for people of color and against people of color? And only 6%, 6 out of 100 said yes, that it was a significant national problem. Just to give you an idea of how bad that is, I would actually compare it to a survey taken a few years earlier where approximately 12% of white Americans said we believe there was a fairly decent chance that Elvis Presley might still be alive.
And white people are laughing. Like if a white person was sitting by me laughing about that, I don't know what I would do to that person. Like I wouldn't be able to sustain my calm, because just listening to this is irritating me, and that's why I'm like doing all the things with my hands, because I'm irritated. But like the reason why I make these videos and my sisters make these videos is because this information needs to be out there. Black people need to wake up and see what's going on, and you really need to start seeing what white truly represents, because we're so stuck in that Disney movie, white princes and Prince Charming, that it seems like we're blinded to the reality, even though we're living it, and even though we're being oppressed, and even though we're being discriminated against, we're still going back to that happy, smiling white person on the, the billboards we saw the other day. They're always smiling. Whenever they're doing something evil, they're smiling. They can be being the biggest, stupidest dick in the world, and they will have a smile right on their face. So we need to stop falling for that, falling for the smile on the face, or they look like they're nice, or not all of them are evil. Well, you need to go with what the majority is. Even if you think 6 out of 10 white people are evil, you need to prepare and be on guard and treat all of them accordingly. You really have to. And you need to realize that if one black person out of 2,000 is bad, they're going to treat the entire 2,000 like they treat that one. It's not going to matter that it's only 1 out of 2,000. So you need to realize that and treat them accordingly to that. I'm not saying walk around being evil to every white person, but your mindset needs to be at war. That's what your mindset needs to be at. You need to be educating yourself. You need to have your guard up. You need to know that you cannot trust these people. And I'm sorry, I don't trust any of them. Not one, not a half, not a penny. I'm sorry, I don't. And for good reason. So it's like I'm not even really sorry, because I have nothing to trust them based on. Like, where am I going to grab this trust from when I know how society is? And we need to realize that if majority of white people were not white supremacists, were not evil, then we would not be fighting white supremacy. It would be done. It would be over. It would be history. We wouldn't even be thinking about it, because they wouldn't want to shove it down your throat. So you wouldn't be watching slavery movies. You wouldn't even know about slavery. It just wouldn't exist. None of this would exist if majority of white people were not evil. And that's just the truth behind it. That's just the reality. But humorous. They find these things humorous.
I don't know how good you are at math. I'm not very good myself, but that's a ratio that I can calculate. What that means is that white Americans are twice as likely to believe that Elvis might still be alive than we are to believe what people of color tell us they experience on a fairly regular basis. That is denial so profound as to boggle the mind, but there it is. And the people who are saying it are not mean-spirited, they're not hard-hearted, they're not bad people.
Yeah, they are.
I firmly believe that most people are good people. I can be wrong about this, but I have 2 little girls, ages 6 and 4, and I choose as a parent to believe that most people are good. If you have evidence to the contrary, keep it to yourself. I do not want to know it.
When he woke up, he should have saw evidence to the contrary for him to believe that he is living in his white supremacy. So that's the thing. Even this guy who thinks that he is awake and that he sees the white supremacy and that he is against it, he is telling you that he's not. Because everything is telling you the majority of white people are evil. Everything from the trees to the water to the sky to the sun. The entire universe is telling you white people are evil. And yet even him, even though he's telling you he's got the facts right in front of him, he's got his paper and he's reading right off of it, and he's still telling you, I want to be blind to it.
Or hear it this evening. What I do know is that those individuals who said that, as well-meaning as they may have been, that they really didn't see it as a significant problem, aren't new in their denial. See, it's one thing for young people to think that the problem is solved. I almost get that. I almost understand it, because if you're under the age of 25, maybe even under the age of 35.
Okay, so I can't watch this anymore because literally my head is getting hot and my ears are getting hot, which means my tolerance level for this is over. But I'm going to put the address in the description box so that you guys can see that. Anybody that wants to watch the rest of that can do so. I look a hot mess, so sorry guys. I did not do my makeup. I wasn't gonna do a video. I usually don't just do videos unless something comes to me, but I'm really trying to understand how to get Black people to understand and to accept that in order to gain freedom, you're going to have to be willing to do what it takes. And that's just the fact of that matter. We can't sit there and walk around saying, well, let's only speak up against 70% of the white people because not all of them are bad. That doesn't matter. We need to realize there are certain things that when it comes to fighting for your life, and because make no mistake, that's what we're doing. Like we should be doing. That's where everyone's mind should be at this point. It should be fighting for their lives. But there's these rules and guidelines and excuses and saying that, you know, majority of them aren't bad or all of them aren't bad, or peace, love, greatness. Like I love all that. I love peace and stuff, and that's what I want. I want peace, and I want to be able to live my life and not have to fight every day for something because of the color of my skin, get skipped in line for some disgusting fat white inbreeds because they're white. Like I'm not gonna, I don't want to spend the rest of my life fighting that. And if we keep making excuses for them, stuff that doesn't matter, like 100% of them don't need to be bad. 70% or 5%. If 5% is of white people being white supremacist terrorists are making my life the way it is, making white supremacist rogue terrorist cops believe that it's okay to kill an unarmed teenager in the street, this has become an epidemic. Okay, so if even only 3% of these people are like that, would it matter? It doesn't matter how much. Okay, so 3%, let's say 3% of all white people are evil, and now we have to go to war with that 3%. Oh well. So are you going to pick which ones are which? So let's just say everyone you see is in that 3%. Like whatever you need to do to get your mind straight, stop making excuses. They know what's going on, and I keep telling you guys this: white people know what's going on. They know the game. They're in it. They know exactly what's going on. They know you're being discriminated against. They know you're being targeted. They know they know that. They're not ignorant to the situation. It seems like Black people are ignorant to the situation, and so we just need to educate ourselves. Okay, so that's what we need to start doing. Just educate yourself. Just hop online and immerse yourself. Even if you look at globally, just looking at stuff globally. If you think that it is coincidence that all of the European countries have the most money and have all these rich stuff going on, and then there's other countries that have nothing, that's not coincidence. That's white supremacist terrorism, and we need to look at things how they really are. There's no reason for any country to be starving with no food, have disease, children dying. There's no reason for that. There's no reason. There's plenty of everything to go around, except you have white supremacist terrorism, and they need to stay on top by any means necessary. And these are the words that you need to listen to: by any means necessary. Okay, they will want to stay on top by any means necessary, and that means if it means killing off all the Black people, then clearly they would do that if that was possible. But as soon as they figure out a way to keep your DNA or your whatever part of Black people they need in order to survive, then that's what they're going to do. So you need to jump on that same bandwagon and say, I'm going to protect myself by any means necessary. I'm going to do whatever it takes to end white supremacist terrorism. And I don't care if only 3% of white people are white supremacist terrorists. Oh well, that doesn't have any relevance. It doesn't change the situation, okay? Things are what they are, so it doesn't matter whether it's 10%, 5%, or 100%, things still are what they are. And that's the problem. So by any means necessary, do we need to get our freedom, to save our own lives, and to get equality so that we can actually live and exist and enjoy the universe, because we're constantly under this stress, because we're constantly being attacked, and that's not allowing me to enjoy my existence. And I want to enjoy my existence. And if I can't enjoy my existence, then I'd rather be fighting to the death, one or the other. Anyways, I will put the description of that video in the link to the video in my description box. Please like, comment. I don't really like that many comments, but if you guys want to comment, go ahead. But if you could share, like, and share this video, and yeah, just, we need to get our minds right. All right, bye.